Hello, everyone. My name is Wendy. I look after the pre-sales support and after-sales support for the Asia Pacific region. And I'm very happy to conduct this webinar today. And I will start now because we are supposed to be start at 4 p.m. European time. There may be some more people joining gradually, but we will start now. So first of all, I want to check that you all can hear me okay and you can see my screen okay. If not, then please message me, raise your hand so then I know that you're having trouble seeing the screen or listening to me. Otherwise, I presume it's all okay. And towards the end of the webinar, I will give you some time to ask questions. So just jot down your question as I go along, and then you can ask at the end if you don't mind. So I'm checking. Okay, no one tell me that they can't hear me. So then, okay, that means you can hear me. Okay. All right. So let's start. Today I would like to talk about one of our products, which is the Boyum pack, because we have a wide range of attendees here. Some attendees probably know this very well and some may not. So for the ones who knows it very well, please bear with us. Because of the different knowledge level, I will repeat some of the things, but I would, talk about it as quickly as I can. So the Boyum pack is one of our Boyum product range. And in this pack is a one single add-on, but it actually contains 6 modules. The core module is the B1 usability pack package. We short call it B1UP or B1UP. It is actually a tool or a platform that we give consultants, partners to create customizations without the need to use SDK or any knowledge of programming. And on top of that, that also comes with a lot of SAP existing functions and enhancement for you to switch on and off. Then the customers and users can, as they need, add on top of all these other applets, the extra modules. They are very specific business solutions that target at particular business areas. So I'll just talk 2 lines about each of them. I won't take too long because today we are focusing on the core module B1UP. So the B1 budget is just a module that allows you to put budget on individual items, individual business partners, item groups, and business partner groups. You can also put it on cost centers and projects and individual sales employees. Because in SAP Business One, you can only put budget on the GR account. So this particular module allows you to put budget on all the ones that I just mentioned. Then we have B1 Time Task. This is a module that's suitable for a service company like ourselves. So you can create tasks like, tasks for data migration, and assign some hours to it. So you can put in budget hours. This B1 budget is monetary value, whereas this B1 time task is hour geared, is hour oriented. So I can say, data migration, 80 hours. And then the user that you assign the task to can enter the time entries about, the time they spend on each task. And then after whatever period you want, then you can automatically turn this time entry into AR invoices using our wizard. Or if it's not chargeable, then you can simply look at the report, compare the time that you budget and the time that actually spent. Then we have MailChimp. MailChimp is itself is a free online marketing program that anybody is free to use if you have under 2,000 subscribers. It is a software that's allowed you to create newsletters, promotions, campaigns online. And the reason why most people use that is you can build multi-level mailing lists, versus versus Microsoft Word mail merge. Because this multi-level list, you can define, like, for instance, you can define first level as the continent, like Asia, Africa, Europe, and all that. And then the second level can be the country, then the states or the province, and then the different industries, and so on and so forth. So you can easily pull out any of the mailing lists and start emailing your campaign. So it's much easier to manage than the different data sources that you would need if you use MailMerge. And our add-on, the B1 MailChimp, is actually allows you to synchronize whatever information you have on the B1 contact with the MailChimp mailing list. So if you make some changes in SAP Business One's contact information, it will automatically synchronize and update in MailChimp. So this is quite a handy tool if you have customer that does a lot of online marketing. And the B1 Document Manager is a software that allows you to manage your attachment on various places like the marketing documents or master data easily. Because in SAP, if you don't remember which BP or item or which marketing document that you attach the file, it's very difficult to find. Whereas our software, this add-on, allows you to put your own keyword when you file the files. For instance, if I want to file a contract or something, I will put in my own keyword as Boyum. Then when I search it, I only need to type in the word Boyum, then all the related documents will come up. So it's much, much easier for user to manage. And also you can appoint external server to store all the attachments. So if you have a customer who's a builder, architect, they might have a lot of blueprints and tender documents, then it is much more easier if they can store all this in an external server rather than on SAP server. Then we have print and delivery, which is a bulk emailing software. It's very powerful. Any document in SAP Business One, you can bulk email out, plus your own customized crystal report also can be bulk email and schedule a time to send. So if I have a sales performance report, then I need to send out to the board of directors every Friday at 2 p.m. I can do so. Set it up, it will go automatically. Plus, when you're emailing, we also allowed you to have the option to add some automations. Like, when I'm emailing the head office, I want another document sent to the branches. Or when I sending a sales quotation out, I want a follow-up activity automatically created that can be done as well. So this is the extra ones that your end user can buy. So now let's have a look at our Boyum pack. We actually now have more than 3,000 customers worldwide, installed in over 70 countries and over 65,000 users. So this is the core module functions that we have, and I'm going to be very quick to go over this. It won't take you too much longer. So the core module, these are the highlight of the features. First of all, we can create new navigations. What we mean by for instance, in SAP, in the sales order, you can use SAP own function to create a purchase order. But what if your customer say to you, I don't want purchase order, I want purchase quotation. So then I can look at all the suppliers' quotation and pick the best price to give them a purchase order. So in SAP, you cannot do that because sales order can only do back-to-back purchase order. You can use our software to create this different document flow. So any document can be copied to and from to any document. And we can also copy from a UDT, user-defined table, user-defined object information in there, or the content in there can be copied and put onto any SAP document and vice versa. So that is quite useful. Then we can redesign the screen. SAP can also redesign the screen, but we have added information. So while you're moving the fields around, you can also put in conditions and make a field change colors. For instance, if a customer is over, their account balance is over their credit limit, we can make the field automatically turn red as a visual warning. And we can also add some golden arrows in any fields that you want, a customized golden arrow that allows you to drill into further information. Then we check data quality and make advanced validation. Anything you want to save in SAP Business One, we can check carefully according to the logic you provide us. And then everything you save is all clean data, good data. As a matter of fact, today our demo is concentrating on the validation, and you will see very shortly. And at just about anything in SAP Business One, we can simulate it and automate it. We can simulate any task, any process with a simple word, and then string them together and use with a trigger. Then we can make it executed automatically. Then we can search and display data. SAP can also search and display data, but only limited to the header, footer of certain documents and the master data. Whereas for us, you design the search yourself, so you can search anything, contents of UDT, UDO, and cross databases. You can just, within one database, look at information of another database, and so much more. So now, for those of you who know about our software, you will know that we are all about customizing and adding your own business logic. Okay, and the new ones, new attendees, new to our product, you also would like to know that this is happening. We can make the customization that you want happen very quickly, very efficiently. So you can imagine what you can do to your business. So now we're picking a business scenario to see. So because normally what happens when you need a customization done, a new customization done in SAP Business One, you will need to, employ or find a good developer, scoping, coding, testing, training, all this process, and all takes money, right? So now we are doing it quite easily. Today, I'm going to give you an example what we're doing, because normally in a sales situation, what you don't want is if you have alternative items very similar to the one you're selling that have a lot more stock, and you want to get rid of it first, but you don't know. You don't know that it has a lot of stock, and you can't pinpoint which one, and you cannot prompt the user to sell it first. So we're saying we're going to set up something. We want to warn the user when an alternate item has more stock than the one he and she is selling. All right, so let's switch and look at the actual demo, the actual example. So now I have a sales order. I'm just going to pick a customer. And then you will see, okay, I have this item. Okay, nothing happened. I have this item. Nothing happened because it's normal. But now I have this item. Straight away, my system pop up and tells me that I have another alternative item, A005, 00005. I have this quantity. And when I check and look at here, the in-stock quantity, then I know 00004 actually have 995. So now I have more. So the user can decide whether I'm going to still sell this because the difference is not a lot. But if this is have a large stock, much higher difference, then I can just say, okay, I wanted to change to this item instead of selling this because I have more and I want to get rid of it first. Then I would just say, I can change it to A005. We can also automate a step to change that as well from here, but it's not in today's webinar. For the ones who are interested to finalize the last step, you can write to us. As a pre-sale support, we will help you with that. So let's look at how do we get this function happening, okay? I also probably have another item. It popped up twice for me, sorry, because I clicked it too much. Okay, so just pop up one as you can see. So now I wanted to disable this validation. This is actually a validation, so then we can start from scratch because I already have one here, but I'm just showing you what's happening. And I'm going to disable it and start from scratch. So to disable a validation, I just need to right-click B1 Usability Pack, add a B1 validation. I find this one here, drew into it, and then I just make it inactive. Okay. So to do something like this, to set it up now, the very first thing we need to do, of course, is to set up the alternative items in here. So we go to stock management or inventory, depending on your localization. Then we go to the item management, alternative items. Okay, so here you can set up the different items. I have set up previously the A004. Fine. So I set it up. This is my alternative item because they are alike. And I set up my matching factor. So for a simple demonstration, I make it 100% matching. But you can define more item and make it 90%, 80%, and then again, you can set up your condition. But this is a more complex situation, which we're not going to go through. Today, we're going to go through just one alternative item, and it's 100% factor, okay, 100% match factor. So now I have set up my alternative item. Then you will remember the pop-up that I have when I change this to 004. And for any validation, I'll recommend methodology to set it up is always a bit like back to front. I wanted to test the pop-up message first. If the pop-up message works okay, then I will do the condition of the validation. Okay, so we're doing it a bit back to front, which is easier. So what I'll do is I'm going to right click and add a button to test. And this is a technique we always use. So I'm going to right click and do edit function button. In here, I'm just going to add one called test. And I'm changing this to universal function. Then I'm going to click in this round circle and do new. I'm just setting up the test, the pop-up message first. So in the pop-up message, I'm going to give it a name. So I'm just going to say message for alternative. Maybe I make it shorter. Alternative item with greater stock. Okay. So the type that I'm setting up, I can be a plain message, but in this case, I want it to be a SQL report because when it is a SQL report, I can add the drill in. So you would remember, or maybe I don't know whether you notice, when I have this pop up, sorry, let me make it pop up again. Sorry, because I'm halfway doing this. You may remember, and I'll show it again in a minute because I have make it inactive, so I can't show you again. But you might remember when I had the pop-up, I have the golden arrow in each of the items. So you can drill in and have a look at the quantity, which you will see in a minute after we set this up. Okay, so now I wanted to set it up as a SQL report, which is the SQL report type. Then I will give it a name. I will call it alternative items, which has more stock. And then the default we give you normally is 800 by 600 pixel. But it is a little bit too large for what I want because I wanted a small pop-up from here that you can see, right? Because it's item by item. So I'm going to change it to half of the size. I'm going to change it to 400 and change it to 300. And then in here, I'm going to write my SQL. Previously, I have written this SQL, so I won't write it again. So I'm just going to copy and put it here. And you will see, for those of you who know SQL, it's a very simple one. I'm just joining the items data table with the alternative items data table. Okay, and then I'm selecting the original item and then the alternative items and the alternative items on hand quantity. Okay, and then my where condition is where the original item is equals to this item. Okay, so this is just the pop-up message. And let me just add this first. And I'm updating that. So when we add a button, we do need to close the form and start again to make the new button appear. you will know that this particular particular item that I just created, I actually don't need any information. I do need any information in here. But actually, I don't have any condition, right? I don't have to compare the quantity of this item and the alternative item because I haven't put in a condition. This is just simply just a pop-up to show you whether the query I just put in makes sense, works. So now I can see that it works, right? So I have put in also an alternative items A001 to 0015, but because the quantity, you can see this is the alternative items quantity, and this is the original items in stock quantity in here. Because this is a SAP field, you can just enable it from the form settings, and it will show you the in-stock quantity of this item. And this is the on-hand quantity of the alternative item. So now I wanted to add the golden arrow that I just mentioned about. I forgot to point out. And I wanted to change the names because this is, doesn't look very good and it's a bit confusing, right? So I want to change the column heading and I want to add my golden arrow. So to do that is very easy. I'm just going to right click, B1 Usability Pack, Edit Function Buttons. And I'm going to draw in my SQL report. Then in here, the wizard, I can add in my column and the sorry, this is my computer flashing a little bit. Okay, so I can add in the column heading in here, and then I can also add my golden arrow. So the first one, I'm just going to call it original item. And the golden arrow that I wanted it to line up is the OITM table, which is the item data table. Then the second column was the alternative item. So I'm just going to call it alternative item. And again, the table I wanted to draw in is this one. Then the third one is just the on-hand quantity of the alternative item. So I'm just going to put old item on hand. And that I don't need to link it to any table. So I'm just going to update this and update this again. Okay. Okay, so now if I click this, you will see that now I have the golden arrow and I change to a more narrative name. So I can drill in to check. Okay, this is 1064. And I can also drill in to check this one, which is 8. All right, so I know I got it right. So now I'm going to do the actual validation because the last part is okay. I know if I got my condition correct, my validation correct, then the pop-up is going to be okay. I don't have to worry about, not giving me the right message, not giving me the right content, okay? So to do the validation is very simple. You just need to highlight the field that I want the validation to trigger or to execute. Then I'm going to right-click B1 Usability Pack and add a B1 validation. So in this case, you will see there's a few trigger events. And in this case, the one that I want is when this column is validated. So I choose this. And you will see our system has got the B1 validation configuration window pops up. And there's quite a lot of information already filled in for us, like the form type. SAP got a form type. So if I make it into view, system information, and then you will see there's a form. When I put my arrows here, you can see down at the bottom is form 139. Okay. So we fill in, this is form 139, and the item we want to look at is 38, column 1. This you should be very familiar with. And then the form mode, I wanted to the validation check when the form is in the add, OK, or update mode. And the event for the trigger is when it's leaving a field. And the before action, I want it to be true. Okay, because after you leave the field, it's too late to change anything. So I just leave it like that. So now I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it check if alternative item is greater than original item stock. I put in here. Okay, so I give it a name, and you can in here nominate which user this validation is applied to. So I can select some of them, tick some of them, or if I leave it blank, that means it's applied to anybody who does the sales order entry. Then now I'm going to add the conditions in here. So I'm selecting the condition. You can put no condition if you have any other functions, but in this case, I wanted to put in my SQL function, which I written the query previously. All this query that I use is available in our sample code. So we have it listed in our website, which I will show you at the end of this demo. Okay, then you can download and then you can use it if you like. So basically, I have a function. Let me just make it a bit more easier for you to look at. So basically, I'm saying if the on-hand quantity from the item, which is the item code that you put in here, it's smaller than the one that's from the alternative items, right? If it's smaller, you can put in more where in the where clause, for those of you who are familiar with query, then here you can say, using the matching factor. So it has to be matching factor more than 80% or more than whatever percent, right, to show it, because the pop-up message is a SQL report. And as you know, we can have multiple lines in the SQL report, right? So that can be done if you wanted to add the match factor and all that in here. But for this demo purpose, we want to keep it very simple. And so this is the condition I put in. As long as the alternative items on stock figure is bigger than the original item, then it will pop up. So in other words, is when this original item is smaller than the alternative items figure, all right? Then we will use this begin select old item for browse. So again, for those of you who knows SQL, this is purely means just give me the word. If it is correct, then give me the word, this particular word. Then I will going to put in my the word in here. It has to be exactly the same without the quote, right? The lowercase, uppercase, it has to be exactly the same. If it's not the same, it won't work. So have this figure matching this figure. I have this word matching the result. And then now the function that I want to execute is the one that I put on the button that I just tested, that it works fine. So this one. So I know this bit I have no problem. And if I do have error and something's not working and so on and so forth, then I know it is the SQL that has problem. Then I can copy this and test it in SAP's query generator, or I can test it in the SQL Server or HANA server. So that's why we suggest the methodology to create validation is always a bit like back to front. You test make sure the last bit works okay. Then when you add the conditions, if it's not right, then I know this is the part that I need to check and double check and debug, right? So say if you got everything written out, then you will not know which part that has the problem. Okay, so now I'm just going to add this. All right, so now I've added this and I'm going to test in here. So now I'm going to do this. First, I'm going to do 2 again, see if anything happened. Nothing happened. So now, which is what we expected. So now I'm going to do 0000004. Now straight away, my message happened. Maybe I tick make it pop up too fast. All right, I will do it again. Let's start just to make sure that this is working properly. And then the second one, I'm just going to do 0, 0, 0, 4. Okay, so then it's pop up for me. Okay, then I can see and the figures here and the figures here. Right, that's how you set up an alternative system to remind your user. You know, if they have something else, they have more stock, you want to remind them to get rid of it first. Then you will see when I do it so slowly, explaining everything, it's only taken me like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So for those of you who's very familiar with our system and who can write SQL very quickly, it probably takes you 5 minutes and you can set this up. And you can imagine if you need to use SDK, how much time it's going to take you to do this, and plus testing and all that. Okay. So I'm going to unmute you and see if you have any questions. For those of you who are not our partners yet, I wanted to show you. Let me minimize my SAP. I wanted to show you here. We have our portal for you to download our software for the 20 days trial. You can follow us in YouTube. Whenever we have some new functions, new features, or new samples, we will publish that there so you can learn about it. You can join our e-learning. You can register as our business partner, okay, under this website. All this PowerPoint is available to email to you later on, okay? So now I'm going to unmute all of you and see if you have any questions. So any questions? Does anyone has any questions? I mean, if you can't think of it now, you're welcome.
Ay, luego es un gorro, yo ya ni se los puse. No, porque nada más se cuenta que lo que hago es que me acuerdo yo. Bueno, picoteo, ajá.
Okay, any of you have question, you can raise your hand. And also, I wanted to show you the sample that I just talked about where you can download it. You can go to our website. Let me show you. We have something called Boyum Help Center. Okay, in here, it's very useful. I encourage all of you to join, right? We have lots of useful information in here. And the different, we have product news and the different product lines, like this is for BS, for those of you who know about BS. There's a usability. This is a manufacturing solution, by the way. So for those of you who doesn't know about BS, this is a production and manufacturing solution. And this is the Boyum usability pack that I just talked about. And the productivity pack is the other 5 extra small modules that are, the specialized solution are all in here. So now if I'm going to click into the B1 usability pack, you will see that we have lots of samples. The one that I just talked about is in here. So you can click in here and then you can download the sample code. Just click in here, then you can just download it. It is a PDF, just like this. So let me show you in the form. So after you download it, okay, so this is our sample code. Normally we tell you this, and then this is where you can follow step by step how to do it. Right click and put in there. And we have the SQL query in here that you can use, and so on and so forth. Okay. So, any questions? Nobody has any questions? No. Okay, then. If you have no more questions, I thank you very, very much for your attendance. And this session is being recorded and we will publish it in YouTube as well. Okay. Thanks again for your participation. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye for now.